What up? What up? It is Alex, the Fantasy Football Hustler. We're bringing you more IDP content. We are covering the NFC North with this IDP video, and we're doing our IDP divisional depth chart breakdown. Let's get it. We're starting off with the Lions here. I always go through each positional group. We'll start with the defensive line. Aiden Hutchinson, one of the guys who you got to draft super early. For that reason, I almost am probably avoiding him because you have to draft him so high. But if you can get him at a little bit of a value, we love it. He's only been going up and up every single year. We could have a third-year breakout. I feel like he's probably going to be consistent with what he's been the last few years. They got Marcus Davenport over here now. Like, he might be the guy who you're able to get for like nothing, like even an undrafted like free agent like status, like maybe put him on your watch list. Those are the only guys. DJ Reader, man, we're probably not going after the interior defensive linemen. How about these linebackers though? Because you got to get in the zone, the anal zone. Alex, anal zone. Let's go. He definitely finished as a top, somewhere in the top two LB2s last year. For sure. I know he's in the top like 30 overall. Jack Campbell. Are we gonna get a sophomore bump out of him? I feel like we are. I feel like Anal Zone is still the guy over there. He's the guy who might be leading the team in tackles. Carlton Davis came over here from the Bucks. I was talking about this right before we started recording. What a huge bump for their secondary, getting Carlton Davis over here. He has been money in the bank for the Bucks in real life, and also been real good in fantasy as well. Guy always gets a shitload of tackles. Brian Branch, though, he's going to be the guy who is going to be highly sought after from the DB spots. He's their strong safety, and he's money in the bank. Oh, yeah. Kirby Joseph. I think a lot of people forget about Kirby Joseph. He's someone you can get a lot cheaper, and he gets a bunch of tackles. The Lions were scoring so much that teams had to throw on them a bunch, and for that reason, Kirby Joseph was pretty valuable. The other two QBs, Terrion Arnold, we'll see. Amik Robertson, that's their nickelback. Probably not targeting either one of these guys in any drafts, but the nickelbacks are guys who we like to target, especially on defenses that get thrown on a lot, and the Lions get thrown on a lot. I'd maybe put Amik Robertson on your watch list. And that's all I got to say about that. All right, let's get over to the Packers here. And I was talking about it right before we started filming. This might be the worst team for IDPs in this division. Throw it in the comments wherever you guys are. Who is the worst team do you consider, like the team with the least amount of IDPs that we want to roster? Because Preston Smith, Rashawn Gary, Kenny Clark, Devontae Wyatt, I don't know if I really want to target like any of those guys. Like maybe Preston Smith would be the guy out of all of those that I would target if I was going to target one of them, but I don't want it. Quay Walker, him and Edrin Cooper. Those are really the only guys who I feel like I want to roster off of this team. Isaiah McDuffie, blah. Jair Alexander, when he plays, he's usually not getting a bunch of tackles. I know the big plays can happen. I'm talking about these guys from an IDP 1, 2, 3 scoring. That's the default on Sleeper. And it's like almost identical to the scoring system that I created way back in like 2008. And so Jair Alexander's not really a guy like that for IDP 1, 2, 3. And then Bullard and Xavier McKinney, maybe. I don't know. The safeties have been pretty blah, like over just the way that their defense works and everything. I don't know. The safeties just don't get a shitload of tackles on a consistent basis. But yeah, Derek said he wants McKinney too. Yeah, maybe. I feel like the guy who I might want more than McKinney would be Kasan Nixon, their nickelback, because he started getting pretty consistent with the amount of tackles that he was getting. But yeah, this to me, Green Bay Packers are the worst IDP team as a whole, like the least amount of players that I want to roster or even draft. Things may change, but we're talking pre-draft and we're talking all about the draft right now because we're all getting ready for our drafts. If you need a league to draft in, come join our community, 420crew.com, 420crew.com. You can join for free, and you'll get information about a bunch of leagues that are happening, best ball leagues, redraft leagues, dynasty leagues. Come join up. And that's all I got to say about the Packers. Let's jump over to the Minnesota Vikings. Definitely one of the better teams I would say, with the amount of players that we want to grab, because we want to grab. If we're talking about the line, things change. But Jonathan Grenard, if you're playing on sleeper, you got him as the LBDL eligibility, and that's where I'd be going, would be Jonathan Grenard. We also got Jonathan Bullard over there, who's pretty solid. Harrison Phillips, he was a decent fill-in on random times. The linebackers, though, we got Blake Cashman. We got Yvonne Pace Jr. They got Andrew Van Ginkel now. There's 3 linebackers who I'd be willing to draft over there. Obviously, depends on how big of an IDP roster you have. It seems like Yvonne Pace, he's the one who everybody really wants this year. And he was solid last year when he came in. The DBs, though, they got a lot of DBs who are worth picking up over here. Harrison Smith, he's been worth rostering for a long time. But now you got Cam Bynum and Josh Metellus. So Cam Bynum, he's the free safety over there. Josh Metellus, he's their nickelback. And I know that he's like the hybrid, like cornerback, safety, like he gets thrown all over the field. But Cam Bynum and Metellus, like those are probably the most sought after guys now on this defense because they get a shitload of tackles. Byron Murphy Jr., that is a huge upgrade in real life. Might be good for fantasy. I mean, he was always getting a bunch of tackles when he was with the Arizona Cardinals. The front 7, I don't think it's, even though it's going to be good for fantasy, I feel like it's taken a step back in real life, losing a guy like Daniil Hunter, some of the other guys that they lost. But yeah, Cam Bynum, Metellus, those are going to be the guys I feel are drafted the highest on this team. And those are the guys who I'd be the most stoked to grab, even if you do have to pay up. But Blake Cashman, him and Andrew Van Ginkel, they're going to be very cheap in the grand scheme of things. And those would be the guys you want, some sleepers right there. Yvonne Pace, I don't know if he's going in sleeper range, but if he's still a sleeper in some of your leagues, like people don't know who the hell he is, he's a solid interior linebacker. Killed it last year, and I feel like he's only going to keep raising in value. And that's all I got to say about the Vikings. And here we go. The Bears. Derek said it might be a tie with the amount of players that we want from the Bears in Minnesota. I agree. There's a bunch of guys that I want to get from the Bears. And it's not really going to be starting with the line. The only player that I want off of their line is Montez Sweat. Dude is a beast. He was a beast when he was with Washington. He came over here. He's doing Montez Sweat things. I feel like you don't have to draft him super high, but I feel like he is still, if you play in a league with DL specifically, he is going to be one of the more sought after ones. Now, when it comes to the linebackers, TJ Edwards, that's the only one that I want. You have to pay up. He is worth paying up for. Tremaine Edmonds, Jack Sanborn, I'll take them later. If they're there very late, like in the draft, and I don't even want Jack Sanborn, Tremaine Edmonds, but it's TJ Edwards. Man, he gets all the tackles like over there. Like he is the man. But when you get past the linebackers, though, that's where they got a lot of money. They may have one of the best DB sets out of all of NFL in real life and in fantasy, because we want Quan Brisker. That's their strong safety. He's the man. Shitload of tackles. Kevin Byard, he's been doing it for years and years. He gets a lot of INTs. He gets a lot of tackles. Tyreek Stevenson got the bag. He gets a shitload of tackles. And then how about Kyler Gordon? Someone we've been talking about for a while, ever since he was a rookie, been killing it ever since he was a rookie. And now he's over there as their nickelback. A lot of tackles. Really, any of those 4 guys, I'm down to roster, and you get them all hella late. So like we want defensive players that are on suspect offenses. And even if people think that the Bears offense is going to step up, it's still not going to be a premier offense in the NFL. Not yet. These DBs, they're going to get a lot of tackles. Jalen Johnson, he's probably going to get a lot of tackles too. I'm just more excited for the other 4 than him. All right, there you have it. I mentioned it a little bit earlier in the show. I'm going to mention it again. Come join our fantasy community. There's lots of reasons why you would join the fantasy community. One of them is because you want to get into leagues. We got a bunch of leagues: Dynasty, Best Ball, Redraft, Vampire, Force Trade leagues, 3 QB leagues, just insane amount. Auction draft leagues. We got, if you have a podcast, we have a Battle of the Brands league, $55 entry. 14 teams, 14 podcasts are going to be competing against each other. Maybe you want to get some advice during a draft. All of this started for me as a fantasy advice service. 420crew.com. Go look at all the tiers, and you can even join for free. You're not going to get as much access as you will being a paid member, but if you are a paid member, you also get shouted out as a producer of the show. Shout out to all of our 420 Crew Patreon members, the All Access members, the Elite members, the Superstar members, the Ultimate members. I appreciate you guys. Join as a Superstar member or higher, and you're going to get mentioned with all the producers of the show every single show. Appreciate you guys. If it's your first time here, hit that subscribe button, and we'll see you next time.